Do we want to intro this at all?
No.
No, we're just going to go straight in.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
It's good. How do you feel about that one, William?
Which one?
We just did the intro. Did you not hear?
Just
Oh,
then.
really?
That was the intro.
Yeah.
Welcome to the podcast.
You can name us. It's the broadcast.
The broadcast.
No, it's the
Welcome
broadcast.
to the
Not
broadcast.
broadcast. The broadcast would be something else.
I'm already fucking your over.
Welcome to the broadcast.
I think I am a basic bitch.
Sure.
And I'm trying to work out why. Because I just finished up the last episode of the Halo season. And I thought it was great. And then I go on the internet, everybody thinks it's bad. And I'm confused. But then I realize, the more I think about it, everything I do, I like. I don't think I do anything I don't like. I play a game, oh, that's pretty good. And I watch a show, and I'm like, oh, that's pretty good. I don't think I don't like anything. And does that make me basic as fuck?
I think because your lifestyle, you're so separated from like internet discourse where like echo chambers can be created, right? So you're going to get diehard fans of anything, which will be upset about certain things. And then they'll echo it with other people and the opinions is kind of like just chain reaction effect and cause this large internet like, oh, we hate this because of these reasons, right? And then if you never look at that, you can just watch something and make your own opinions out of it, right? Whether it's good or bad. And maybe you've watched the Halo series and you've come to the conclusion that you like it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people that surround the internet are on like Reddit, Twitter, YouTube comments. They'll just be like, everyone else hates this. I should hate it as well.
Like, I started with Halo at Combat Evolved as a kid. So I have all of the nostalgia that everyone else will have.
Sure.
And even though this show is completely different to everything that was in the game, I'm like, this is really cool.
That being said, though, I still don't like the Halo TV show.
Okay, but what is the reason you don't like it? Is it because it's not the thing it was before?
I'm a really hard person to please for anything that I enjoy because I have my personality is I'll like get obsessed with a thing like I'll be really into it for a while and I'll deep dive into like the world, the lore, the stories, the characters. So the same thing happened with the Witcher TV series, right? Where I like the Witcher franchise a lot. I've read the books, I've played the games, and so I've had this like fond memories of it. And when the TV series comes out and they're like, oh, we're basing it off the books. For me, it's rather than the opinion of I could see the books realized on screen. It's like, oh, someone is interpreting the book and it's a chance of fucking it up. So why would I risk the chance of it ruining my memories of The Witcher when I can just have my opinions from reading the books, the original source?
I guess, but even in that, you talk about how it's if it's too far from the book, they can fuck it up. But if they're too close to the book and they don't get it right, then they fuck it up.
I think as frustrating as it is, I think generally speaking, you should just stick to the source material. But the problem is I can't expect writers to do that because there's a thing with writers and there's a thing with actors as well, where if you're adapting a franchise, a lot of writers have in their mind that they don't want to just one for one adapt it because you're not writing, you're not putting any input in yourself. You're just taking someone else's work, right? So a lot of writers have this thing of, I'm going to inject my own changes and my own improvements to it, right? Because I'm a writer, I'm going to feel like I'm going to improve upon it, and that will upset the fans. Same thing with actors, right? A lot of actors out there want to, perform their role to what they think their role should be, right? So, for example, the Halo TV series, right? Can you imagine being an actor and being told you have to put the helmet on for the entire series? So, like, you could be any actor, right? And you got tasked with Master Chief, but you got to keep the helmet on, so no one will ever see your face. So, realistically, as an actor, you're like, this is a shit gig, right? I won't be known for anything.
Yeah, but then you have like the guys from like Star Wars, from the early Star Wars who played like Darth Vader, and you had different guys playing the Darth Vader character and the voice and things. And I don't think that was like
I think it's just a like mentality that actors and writers have nowadays. Because in the past, it was like, it's different, right? And that's why those characters tend to be so much more memorable, I find. Because the character is beyond the person acting it. The acting did it justice, right? But what the character was is still most important part of it.
True.
But I don't know. That's just my opinion. I'm a big sweaty nerd when it comes to like fandoms.
So is there a series that you've seen go from a book to a TV show that you've been okay with?
I thought the first couple of seasons of Game of Thrones actually did it really good. Having read the first book and the second book of the Game of Thrones series, I can't name, what was it? It's Game of Thrones, Clash of Kings, the Song of Ice and Fire series, the first two books. Having read the first two books, I thought the first two seasons were actually pretty one for one. So they were adapting it pretty well.
It's funny, like with it was such a cultural touchstone was Game of Thrones that like everybody we knew was week to week or whatever it was watching those episodes, and then it finishes and then nobody cares. It's crazy how it was like anything anyone would talk about from like forever, and then the minute it finishes, it's like
it was the biggest entertainment phenomenon like I've ever seen. Like everyone had to talk about Game of Thrones. Everyone was watching it. People were going to each other's houses to watch Game of Thrones. It was a cultural thing. Like everyone was watching. I've never seen a TV show reach that level of cultural impact.
Especially one about like dragons and knights and like pew pews.
Absolutely. So HBO knocked it out of the ballpark with that one. At least, we'll see until the later seasons, but
Interesting. I never catch up with Game of Thrones.
Do you watch much TV shows, William?
Not really.
Fair.
I work all the time, so.
It's hard. I
tend to do it while working and it not being the best plan.
I tried to put out like a show on an iPad. I don't want to put it on a screen because it distracts me from actual work. So I put it on an iPad, and then like if I'm doing work, I can't even watch it. So I try to put it in the middle, and then it's too distracting. So I'm like, I might as well don't watch it.
Yeah. It's why I'm like cautiously optimistic about the Fallout TV series. This is going to be second time we mentioned Fallout on the podcast, by the way.
I was considering just turning this into a Dune cast. But
we talk about Dune for 3 times in a row. Yeah. So it's why I'm kind of like cautiously optimistic about the Fallout TV series. What I've seen from it sounds like interesting, and like it's Amazon, they have a high production budget. But I think this show writer has come out and he said that like I'm not out to please the fans because trying to please the fans is a losing battle. And like I get their mentality, right? Because even the fans can't agree which game they think is the good one or what law, and the law's so inconsistent. But when the show writer himself comes out, it's like, I'm not out to please the fans. It's like,
Do you think that's just an easy buffer you can put on? So you're like, I'll just set the bar real low.
I don't know. It sets like red flags for me, right? Where once again, it's the idea of like, instead of showing some level of understanding and respect for the world that was created, they're just going to inject their own like.
Even if you're lying,
premise.
you come and be like, I want to make everybody as happy as possible.
Which is why the TV series is so divided, right? For Halo, because I imagine they made the TV series to try and appeal to a wide audience.
Correct.
Which happens a lot whenever you're adapting anything. And generally speaking, you have to make a thing that is available to watch for everyone. But if you try to make it available for everyone, you're going to potentially upset the diehard fans, right? The fans that really had expectations.
That's a price to pay, right? Just like when they first released the first Transformers movie, right? And it's like nowhere near what the hardcore Transformers people, the fans liked it. But it captured a wider audience. So that's what they want. You get the 2 million and you forgo that 100K.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's still dollar and cents for the movie industry, right?
I think in the past, you'll find that like the small vocal minority didn't have a lot of sway. But more and more nowadays, I find that with the internet, like that small vocal minority of fans can snowball and snowball. And that opinion starts to snowball into the greater majority. So
I guess you only need a few people on the internet to like make it feel like there's a lot of people that have that opinion. But when you actually like, I guess the people you really want are people that don't have opinions more than anything else, right?
Pretty much.
Because they're probably the average consumer where they're like, oh, I'll see that because it's cool.
Yeah. So you saying that you enjoy the Halo TV series probably tells me that the show's actually probably pretty good. Like it's actually probably got like decent acting. It's probably got like great action. It's just that from what I've seen about how like the internet discourse, people have been like, this and this is not true to this and this of the world and the law. And I'm like, already that's like me getting red flags. And
obviously there's a lot of lore around like Halo and the series and the books and stuff, but you are taking a video game that's inherently like a combat focused game and trying to add story and background and care about those feelings. And like, there's a lot of the talk about whether like the guy takes his helmet off or not. But if you're in a combat game, there's no reason to take the helmet off. And obviously a character in a game doesn't take the helmet off so that every player can feel like they're that person without it scrubbing away that illusion that you can pretend that it's you, right? So that it makes sense there. But it doesn't make sense when you're trying to tell like a visual story and have someone connect to a character. I think if you didn't take your helmets off or like you didn't see the guy's face, it's a lot harder to care about whether that guy dies or lives or the emotions that he's feeling, right? And I think, we talk about Warhammer a lot here, so it's the same thing. It's like there's no reason any Warhammer character should ever not be wearing a helmet. Every single one should have a helmet. But if you didn't see anybody's face ever, then where's the connection, like the human connection to those people?
I think it's hard because I have an opposite opinion, and I understand where you're coming from. Like they have to show the face, show emotion, and show character growth. But especially in the later Halo games, there was so much of Master Chief's character and his personality was told through his companions, right? Like in Halo Infinite, which had all its problems, but the Halo Infinite storyline had this real like touching thing with this pilot you meet and his and Chief's connection with Cortana and Chief's connection with Arbiter. So much of what Chief's character is the people around him, and it shapes his personality. And even though he's a stoic like soldier man, there's moments where you get a lot of his character coming through, and it's just the way he talks and the way he talks and interacts with his companions. I think those small moments of interaction have so much more weight and impact than just having dude's face there.
True. He's the tofu of characters. He just tastes like whatever you cook him in.
It's true. I don't know, but everyone can have their own.
So I didn't follow the Halo, the whole storyline on Halo. So what is Halo all about?
The primary thing is that they come up against an alien race, and both of them start like moving towards the thing called the Halo, which is like this one ring, and it's this ancient relic of this like mystical thing that they're trying to both gain control of. And somewhere along the line of the story, they realize that the Halo is a weapon. In the TV show, they were nowhere near up towards this, and the weapon is designed to like clear the universe of an overwhelming threat that the previous people that built these relics couldn't deal with. So effectively, they stowed away all these different types of biogenetics into like hidden like bunkers, I guess. And then they turn the Halo on, and it's a bunch of series of rings that just purge the entire universe of all living life, so that it gives life to then a chance to restart without the thing that's called the Flood, which is like a parasitic kind of like being that takes over. It gives the universe basically a second chance to start again and see if it can try to do better the second time around. And what the Halo and the storyline is the, in a very fanatic religious way, the Covenant, who is like a group of alien races that have banded together, see the rings as a very religious relic symbol to honor and gain control of, and they're trying to achieve that. Whereas like the human side of it starts to realize that these aren't like amazing symbols or these massive weapons that if they get turned on, because they want it, like the Covenant want to turn them on for religious reasons, because they think it's going to push them forward into the great journey, which is, I guess, what's the Christian Bible version of like moving from
The pilgrimage, right? Oh no,
like ascending to heaven, essentially.
Yeah, what's the word when they use the
rapture?
The rapture.
Yes,
yeah.
that. So it's their version of that rapture, right? So the Covenant thinks that they'll have this, once they turn them on, they activate them, they'll have this rapture where the believers will get moved on to the next part of this, like their life story. And the humans begin to realize that these are weapons, and they're really only designed to just all they do is wipe the universe again of all living life. But because they haven't prepared, they're nowhere near as smart or as organized as the previous time this happened. They haven't hidden away all the people's biogenetics ready to be released again to start again, so just end the universe. But then as the story progresses, you start to realize there's characters within the Covenant that too begin to realize that these religious fanatics aren't telling them the truth and don't have the full picture. So on the human side of it, it's really just the human versus the Covenant, but within the Covenant you've got Covenant versus Covenant, and it's like it's pretty.
Civil war breaks out along ideology.
Right.
It's pretty well. It's a pretty well written and thought out story, and I'm sure that as every fantasy story ever has, there's kind of like taken parts from other stories, but in the scheme of things, it's pretty well rounded within its own universe and has its own concepts and stuff like that, which can be like used quite well, and you don't see it a lot in other places. So
is there an ending to the story?
It's technically still going. It's
ongoing,
right? So it's still like fighting for the control.
As the games have gone on, they've activated more, and what are the guys called from before on the
Forerunners?
The Forerunners. So they've acted like more of they've approached more of the rings and found more of the Forerunner, which is the people from before, is like equipment and artifacts. They come across like robots and machines that are activated from the Forerunners, and they come across the Flood, and they're still, as the story progresses, they come across more enemies. But you can kind of feel a little bit at least in Halo 5, that they're trying to do new things to keep the game interesting, but some of the storyline is a little bit like getting a little bit thinner, because like there should probably be a natural progression. If this was a TV show or something, you'd be a natural progression of like what's the next bit. But as a video game, you've got to still be able to shoot at cool new things, right? So it's
current where Halo is right now is with Halo Infinite, the newest game, they've actually kind of soft retconned a lot of Chief and Arbiter story.
Oh.
So where the storyline right now...
I actually haven't played the new one at all.
It's interesting. I think they're trying to... 343 is trying to reboot it into like a better position, because
interesting.
Because a lot of the fans didn't like where they were writing Cortana.
Yeah.
So the current universe is like the UNSC, the human government, has basically won the war against the Covenant. It's still ongoing. The war's still ongoing, but the Covenant itself is now currently ravaged by like eternal conflicts. as like ideologies have broken out and civil wars are breaking out among like the planets and stuff. And right now, the main bad guys are essentially the brutes. Like the brutes have forged their own coalition and have kind of like separated out and are fighting UNSC.
So brutes are part of Covenant and then they break out.
Yeah.
The Covenant is like, you know, the Tau from 40K.
Yeah.
They're just like conglomerate of alien species.
Right.
So
So there used to be like there's some religious figureheads that really maintain control of the majority, but they had these a race called the elites, and it's in the scheme of things, elite isn't a very good. They should have. They're called the Sangheli, weren't they? Actually?
Sangheli, yeah.
Yeah. So these were the race that were generally the enforcers of this religious covenant, and then as time went by and as the games progressed, the brutes are a more like ape-like, larger, stronger, but maybe less intelligent kind of race, and they end up taking over because as the Sangheli, I guess those guys the groups of them anyway were pushing back against the religious concepts of it and what it was, whereas the brutes were still very virulently like for the cause. So the religious overheads could control and manipulate the brutes a lot better into like doing what they need to get done. So a lot of there's the civil war between the Sangheli and the old Arbiter, who they kind of like broke against each other, but then you have like multiple factions now of different like groups, and a bunch of I can't remember what the name of the original leaders were, but a bunch of those get murdered over time by Master
Prophets?
Chief. Yeah, the prophets. Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
The story is really well rounded. I think it's obviously I'm not that great at recurring things because details.
Yeah, but
but overall,
is there going to be like an ending to it, or is this going to be like
the video games? The story within the video games actually tend to be pretty easy to follow because it's just through the eyes of one character. But a lot of the Halo universe and world is told through like supplementary stories, like the books, and I imagine the TV show now as well. So
even though like the TV show has really rewritten a lot of the approach, I don't think it's done anything to destroy the overall concept of what's occurring as a big picture of the thing. I think it's just how like the minutia of how it got there.
I think the immediate sour taste a lot of people had was when Chief took the helmet off, right? For a lot of fans, it was like the one golden thing, right? It was like, Chief, you don't know who he is.
Well, it's just like Mandalorian, right?
It's like Mandalorian.
Yeah, but he took off his helmet.
Well, actually, apparently he took off his helmet because the actor didn't like that people didn't know that he was playing it. What was his name again?
He's got quite famous now.
Last of Us, yeah.
Yeah, he's quite a famous actor. He's actually quite a good actor.
Pedro, is it?
Yeah, Pedro Pascal
Yeah,
was
Pedro
upset.
Pascal, yeah.
Like Pedro Pascal actually is the one that pushed for the helmet to be taken off. Apparently, that's what I heard.
I just think as a TV show, you really want to. In the video game, you said you can see why they don't want you to see the guy's face, but in a show, you want to see his like emotions and feelings and like get attached to that character. It's hard to do that if it's just a faceless machine.
I haven't watched The Mandalorian. Did the Mandalorian himself have much emotion come through even with a helmet on?
A lot of people will say yes. I think again, as someone who's watching on a surface level and enjoyed it for what it was, I would say it's just a guy kind of flopping about. Right?
That's fair. I guess I have a different perspective because I grew up watching a lot of like stoic men in movies, right? That like spaghetti western of like the cowboy with no emotion. You know,
So let me get this straight. So if it's a Mando, right? So he can't take off his helmet at all, ever.
Mandalorian.
Yeah.
He took it off, didn't he?
I don't know. I'm just saying, like,
part of the law.
Yeah.
Is that
like
the law?
even in private, he can't take it off.
I don't know enough about Star Wars lore.
Yeah, we'll find out about that. I was like, how you guys gonna wash his face,
You gotta
bro?
eat, bro. You gotta eat. You gotta take it off.
That's the thing, right? I like unless he is through a pipe, through his,
Everything
like,
is just a milkshake for him.
Yeah, pretty much. It's pretty sad life for a bounty hunter. Yeah, I got two best guys, but I
people
can't
don't
eat.
like them all a lot, but like the Clone Wars, who's not wearing his helmet all the time.
There you go.
So maybe that was I don't know. George Lucas wrote it, so he can make the rules whatever he wants.
Is he like the ultimate like whatever I write is canon?
Well, even when he sold it to Disney, like he was a lot of stuff got signed off by him, and I think he still wanted to be involved as much as he could. Mm-hmm. So a lot of the writers would go to him to be like, "Hey, does this sound right? Does this sound like what this character would do?" So even though it's not like they couldn't do anything without him, they still used his like his knowledge and his ideas a lot anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like why, if you've got a good resource, why remove that completely?
So another question I want to ask is like based on what you watch in the Halo series, right? So what's the percentage of accuracy to the actual storyline?
It's I would say the overall the overall arc is the same. Like they're on the planet Reach, and the planet Reach gets invaded and glassed. That bit's the same. Everything else up, like leading to it, is very different.
All right.
But in that very different, it doesn't matter. Like, you know what I mean? Like, even though all that story is very different, it's like most of that story isn't touched on in the actual video games themselves. And it's only like the interactions with other Spartans and other things happening around there. But it doesn't change the end goal.
Okay.
Like, they've added in a character called McKee, who's a human, and she's being held by the Covenant. And that's how a lot of the betrayal and stuff is happening there. And like, McKee and John, like the Master Chief, have like sexy time and stuff like that. Whereas like,
Dude, I watched that. I watched a clip of it, and Cortana sits in the sidelines watching it. Bro, I was like, that's so weird. I've never.
Cortana has a Superman jumpsuit on, just like
in the 20 years of me existing alongside like Halo. Never once in my brain was I like, oh, I wonder if Master Chief has sexy times.
Now you know.
Now I know.
So like all of that stuff is significantly different to what the games are.
Right.
But if you, I don't know, if you read the final chapter, I guess, of it, the results all the exact same. You know?
Okay.
It's
So
just-
the end goal is the same, but like the journey to the end goal is different.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think because there's like this Secret Service version of like the FBI of the thing called Oni, and of like the human race anyway. It's called Oni, right? And a lot more of it's more the conflict between the Spartans and the Secret Service than it is about anything else at the moment. Obviously, it's a lot cheaper to have humans on the screen in uniforms than it is to do all the CGI for the aliens and stuff. So there's
Right.
a lot of still human on human conflict. And I think as a degree, as a watcher, you can relate to that human a bit easier than you can to with an alien, because you always want the aliens to win. Whereas like at least when you have human to human interactions, it's more of it can be here or there. So it's like, you know, you can see both sides aren't necessarily good and aren't necessarily bad.
Yeah.
It's very much like that 40K thing. Like, is there any good anywhere in the universe? Like there's all scopes of people believing they're the good one. So they're trying to do the right thing. And you can see why in the, you know, when the main director leaves the planet as getting glassed by the aliens, they've evacuated the people that they think is valuable to the human race before then. You know that while that might seem like a dick move, that's probably what they would do here, right? Like if they, if WA is about to get bombed, they're not evacuating me and my kids.
2012. Yeah. Get all the artists out.
Yeah, make sure we get all the game store owners and podcasters like that. I think they might hit the doctors up first, you know?
It's like the Titanic.
I did watch the Halo series when it was free.
There was a
They
YouTube series.
Yeah, they gave us like I think like 5 episodes for free or something like that. So I watched the
Are
first.
you talking about like the wetter ones, or are you talking about the first season of?
Yeah, the first season.
Got it.
Yeah. So like because it's like on Paramount, right?
Yeah.
So it
Oh,
was,
I'm thinking of something else.
No,
You're
it
talking
was
about the one
free.
back in the day, like
Yeah, way
Oh
back
no,
in like
no.
2014
I'm talking about
or
like
something
what
that.
Danny watched. So I watched 5 episodes, and then like the following one's like, you have to subscribe. I'm like, no.
Is Paramount Plus worth it yet? Because they got Halo right now.
the
What else
issue-
did they have?
My issue with all this subscription, it's just
Yellow Jackets.
one after another.
yeah, I was watching Yellow Jackets on there, but I think you can get Yellow Jackets something else. So I wasn't going to say that.
It's way too many subscriptions.
Yeah, I think I've got Netflix, Prime, Disney,
Well,
and then Paramount Plus.
Prime I could excuse
And
it
Optus,
because
sport for soccer.
Prime is like if you have like the Amazon Prime for like shipping, you get Prime for free.
True. That's
Yeah,
true.
so it's like 2 in 1. So I don't mind that. Like other than that, you have like Disney Plus. I have like Netflix, which is like the cost already. So
I just have Netflix and KO, and that kind of covers me because I realize that if it's not on Netflix, I kind of just wait a while and eventually it
It'll
shows
pop up around,
Yeah,
yeah.
it comes around anyway.
so what does KO have?
Sports.
All right, I don't watch sports.
So I've got Optus Plus, whatever it is, because I watch the EPL. So I watch that soccer. But then I think we actually downloaded Paramount Plus because my kid wanted to watch a soccer game, and that one was that one was on Paramount
That's
Plus.
crazy.
Yeah, I was like, what? I'm already paying for a whole thing for this, but it was on that one. So
The KO is nice because you do get a lot of free sports shows as well.
is it
So
like, are you watching boxing on there, or what sport are
I
you watching on there?
generally have a KO account because I watch pay per view, so I'm watching like UFC.
Got it.
So
And do you have to still pay for the pay-per-view on top of that?
yeah, pay per view you still have to pay for.
Oh my
So
gosh.
I dived into like I never like not watch sports, right? I'll watch the occasional basketball. Like for me, the main sports I watch is like basketball, and like the combat sports, so boxing and UFC. But lately, I've dived into the sports that I've never really paid attention to.
Cornhole.
No, that sounds boring, bro. Cornhole?
Do you
Really?
know- Yeah.
Cornhole.
I've seen it's got more competitive, all right?
Really?
Don't knock
Hey,
it.
it's accuracy. It's like artillery.
I judge my sports on the average age of who's in it. If it's the average age is like 40 to 50-year-olds, I'm not watching it. I want to watch 20-year-olds run at each other and get hurt.
Yeah, it's true. Like it's like that's like they talk about darts being sports. You're like, ugh.
I'm sure there's people enjoying it.
I think there's a range of skills, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not shitting anybody who's playing darts, but there's a range of skills that people can do, and I can in my mind know they're impressive, but I don't give a fuck. Like Rubik's cubes, lame. Darts, lame. It's like I get it. I can't do it, and I never expect to. But if you're really good at it, it's still not that impressive.
So I've recently found a newfound appreciation for NASCAR. I never in a million years thought I would be interested in NASCAR, but I watched a documentary series on Netflix. I can't remember the name right now, but it was just about NASCAR. I clicked it on for no reason, just because I was bored and I wanted to know more about NASCAR. And now I'm in. I get it now. I get why people like NASCAR now.
Did you feel like Ricky
Why?
Bobby?
Why? It's a lot of the sport, and in the past it was like, oh, why would you watch NASCAR? We're just watching cars go around in circles. Big deal, right? And I watched the documentary on NASCAR, and like there's a lot of discipline and a lot of control and a lot of skill that goes into driving that car. That car is going incredibly fast, and it's a combination of the human element alongside the engineering element as well. Like those cars are engineered to a certain degree, and the pit team that has to constantly maintain it as well. There's a back and forward like dynamic between like the pit team coach and the person that's driving in. They're constantly giving each other feedback to make sure the car's in good condition, the driver's in good condition. The drivers themselves have to go through a ton of training and regimenting. And there's a whole culture around NASCAR where like the cars race each other, and the whole season goes on, and it's like a festival season for the people that are really into it. Obviously, like Midwest America, right? The people that go to these NASCAR shows, they bring in their caravans, their families, they're having big barbecues, they're hanging out.
I definitely get it for the people going to the physical events, because like I said, there's like the car boots, and like they get out there together and drink, and like there's that big it was actually in the news quite recently where the Americans saw pictures of the Taylor Swift concert over in Melbourne, right? And they're looking at the MCG, and the Americans are really confused because the MCG is completely surrounded by like national park and then like housing and stuff like that in the city. And they're like, where's the giant car parks? Because in the US, like all of the massive arenas have 3 kilometers car park. They're ringing the entire way around it. So everybody drives up, and they might camp there or park there or drink there and hang out there before going in. It's part of the event is doing this. And they're all amazed that like they can have, one of the biggest stadiums in the entire world. I think it's like 90 something thousand people can be there and not have a single car park next to the stadium. They were pretty amazed by that. So like part of those big events for like NASCAR is going to these things, and it's being the family thing. You go there and you meet your friends and stuff like that. But you're not doing that. You're watching it on TV.
Yeah.
What are you fucking talking about?
50% of it is still me just watching and waiting for a crash.
Yeah. So if you're talking about like NASCAR, like what you said just now, right? Like all the pit crew and it's like, wouldn't be F1 more like exciting?
F1's too sterile to me. I need to see some car crash, explode, and flip. I want a Dale Earnhardt situation. But to be fair though, Dale Earnhardt Sr. was kind of like the last big, like it was the last NASCAR death. So after Dale Earnhardt died, a huge regulation.
When was this? What year?
A while back.
Like a long time
I'm
ago?
going to say, off the top of my head, I'm going to randomly say 80s. I'm going to randomly
so a long
spitball a
time ago.
name out.
Fair enough.
So ever since then, they huge like safety regulations came down on like safety and driver safety and car safety. So now you'll watch a car like flip off the road, spin 7 times, crash into like 3 banisters and explode, and then the drivers get out okay.
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Like I do want to see crashes, but I also don't want people to die. So
That
I'm
being
on board
said,
with
my
that.
newfound appreciation with NASCAR still isn't like, it's just a fascinating thing. Like, so NASCAR was one thing I got really into after watching a Netflix documentary. And another thing I got really into recently is like NFL. I don't know why I'm hitting the American sports.
You're in your USA area.
I don't know how.
Because you're like look dressed like you're in California. You started skateboarding. You're watching NASCAR. You're watching NFL.
Yeah.
Like I want to see you come in next week with just like solid Midwest accent. Let's fucking commit.
I'm super like third level
Budweiser.
deep. I'm third level deep state communist spy.
You now even
I'm
you're
integrating.
confused?
I'm
Yeah.
integrating in any moment now. The keyword comes out and I switch over. So I'm wearing
NFL.
more red in the cap. NFL is interesting.
But NFL is just like shit rugby, right?
Just
Yeah.
because of Taylor Swift.
Honestly, I watched the Super Bowl because I wanted to see Taylor Swift's team lose. And if they didn't, then I'm pissed.
Out of spite.
Yeah.
Didn't know they won the Super Bowl, right? Did they?
The Kansas City Chiefs
Yeah.
won the Super Bowl, which is Taylor Swift's team.
Yeah.
And she's dating like Travis Kelce,
Yeah.
the one of the running backs. I'm mad because I really wanted her team to lose.
Come on, that's
I
Taylor
would-
Swift power there.
Yeah.
Right?
But yeah, no, NFL is interesting because yes, it is like rugby, but I guess after like, because I actually have watched a bit of rugby, and like rugby is crazy. Rugby is like you have to be a certain person.
Yeah.
Every person that plays rugby is this giant freak of a person, right? And like you got these huge Maoris. Can you imagine being not everyone can play rugby.
I played union when I was young, but I couldn't keep up because as I stopped growing in like year 10, I was
Yeah.
massive. But after that, I couldn't keep up with people's sizes. So I stopped playing because people got twice my size.
Yeah, and I watch a dude get like just tackled, like spear tackled, and I watch him on the ground unconscious, and I'm like, holy shit, this sport's crazy.
I watched some videos on like rugby or I think it's NFL. So they sign some sprinters
Yeah.
and then get them to like pass them the ball and sprint.
Yeah, so what I realized about NFL is that the entire game is a strategy game.
Correct.
It's
It's chess.
NFL is an RTS. It's all strategy. You watch like it's all about like positioning and moving and getting the ball to a certain person and getting that person through
So
the
who's
line.
actually playing, the players or the coach on the side of the field?
I don't know. I still barely know.
Because if
the
it's an
rules.
RTS, then really it's the coach on the side of
Or
the field.
as
making
far
the
as
call.
I still don't really know the rules. So every now and again they'll just kick a ball and I'll be like, okay, get it. And every now and again they'll run the ball to the end of the line. I'm like, okay, kind of get it. So,
RTS.
but it's a strategy game. It's like unlike any other sport I've seen. Like NFL is like a strategy game because there's a lot of stops. In NFL, it's like I think watching NFL can get pretty boring because it's a lot of stopping and everyone like reforms and has like the lines and stuff.
Well, I think the same thing, like from the guys I knew, like the Americans that I know, when they watch the NFL, it's more, again, like they get like 20 people around their house and they do wings and they have this and there's music playing. And like, obviously the NFL is a thing, but it's more about, there's less about, I don't know, my dad home watching the AFL by himself. And my son will go around and watch it with him, whatever. It's not that sad. But like, it's less of, that's very much about the sport because the action's always happening. Whereas NFL is more about all the stuff that goes around, like the families come around, and the barbecue and everything, you know?
And NFL has like really low, like slow moments, and then the highs will be very high. As like the guy finally gets the ball and is running it through, and there's like 7 guys chasing him, trying to tackle him down, and he's just sprinting to the end line.
Yeah, it is pretty satisfying watching that one guy skip through as like 10 dudes fall behind him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like they just get like the fastest sprinter and just pass him the ball and no one could chase him.
Well,
It's- no,
yeah, but if he
there's a
gets
lot of
caught, his
strategy.
entire body gets snapped
Yeah.
in half.
Yeah. That's the thing. Don't get caught.
If you're gonna watch any sports documentary, I do recommend checking out. It's called The Last Dance, and it's like a multi-part Netflix sports documentary about the NBA season of the Chicago Bulls and Michael Jordan. When Michael Jordan and the Chicago Bulls won 6 of their finals. And it's this crazy documentary about the person of Michael Jackson and what was required for him.
Michael Jackson?
Michael Jordan.
You said Jackson.
Did I say Jackson?
You did.
MJ this, MJ that, you know? So,
I was like, what?
but dude, Michael Jackson in a basketball court, now that I want to see. But no, so yeah. So Michael Jordan's that year where they won like 6 of the finals and stuff. It was this crazy documentary about like the mindset of Michael Jackson and what was
Michael
Fuck, I said it again. Michael Jordan. What was required of Michael Jordan to push himself and his team to win that many times, and what was required of him. It's both inspiring and also impressive to see. And so much so that like recently there's been some controversy around Michael Jordan because like his previous coaches and so previous players that he's played with have come out and said like Michael Jordan, kind of a dickhead, hate the guy, didn't like playing with him at all. And there's this almost like the mysticism of who MJ is, and they're tearing it down almost. It's weird.
I think anyone who's got to get that good at anything has to be a bit of a fuck it, right?
Yeah.
Let's be honest. Like you to get to that level of knowing you're that good, it's hard to get there without everybody telling you're the best. No, not being like, yeah, I'm the best.
Everybody hates him because he has his own shoes.
Yeah, those Jordans sold a lot, huh?
Yeah, I think he still gets some royalty from it as well.
Is like shoe flipping still a thing?
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, definitely.
But it's harder now. It's harder now.
It's lesser, much lesser.
A lot of the sneaker hype culture has changed. So it used to be, it was like first come, first serve. You get in there first, you buy a bunch of shoes, you're out. But now it's like a raffle system. Now it's lottery, whether you get it or not.
So it's hard to game it more
Yeah,
so.
you can't just have a bot buy 2,000 shoes.
Because like my Instagram stories used to like, you know, I get a bit fair different stuff, a lot of Warhammer stuff, a lot of like nerd stuff, a lot of like your sport. Like I watch a lot of EPL, so I get a lot of soccer things. Apparently now, like Instagram just turned into live leak, so I get a lot of like death on my thing for just no apparent reason. I don't know if yours is the same, but I see a lot of like, you know, like live leak from back in the day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of my Instagram is just that now. I don't know why, but I used to get a lot of shoe
Just like
stuff.
Joe Rogan, bro.
Hell, if I can make anyway a quarter of what he makes, I'm good to go.
We haven't started talking about gorillas yet.
But I used to get a lot of shoe stuff. But now, instead of the shoe stuff, all I get is people shitting on pandas. That's all I get. I don't get any other shoe content except for people shitting on pandas. And I'm like, okay.
Panda dunks.
Yeah. And I'm like, no, it's like 2 or 3 videos a day. Like if I scroll for like half an hour a day on like social media just to see what's going on, I'll get like 2 or 3 videos of people just shitting on pandas. And I'm like, I've never thought about pandas in my entire life, but now I'm being like told to hate them.
It's fashion, like anything culture related, is fickle, right? So the immediate moment something becomes popular, becomes uncool again. So like the Panda dunks, when they came out, they were like really popular because they're like a black and white shoe that you can wear for most occasions, and it goes with a lot of styles and fits. And then all of a sudden, too many people were wearing pandas now, and everyone's like, it sucks now. I'm never gonna wear it.
It's not cool anymore.
Yeah. So
Yeah, it's much harder now, but it's good for regular people though to buy sneakers now because you just raffle, right? If you get it, you get it. Like it's not like sold out immediately.
William used to stay up late just to buy Yeezys.
I'll buy them and then sell them and then make mine free.
See, like I'm a big shoe fan, but I'm also the guy who will go down to Foot Locker and buy the same pair of 90s that I've bought for the last 3 times in a row. I'm cool with that. I'm A-okay with that. I don't know if I'm a stay overnight and try and get in line.
It's called basic, bro.
I think you've just reached like fashion enlightenment where it's just wear what you're comfortable wearing. Just be happy with what you're wearing.
Yeah,
Right?
it's fine.
It's also that small business mentality. It's like, well, I'd like to spend $600 on these shoes, but that's fucking stupid for me right now. Not for everybody, but for me, I've got bills to pay.
Do you play any sports, Will?
Sports?
Or did you play when you were younger?
He was clearly insulted by that question.
Come on, you got it. Yeah, I knew it. I was gonna say basketball.
Basketball
cool,
and
bro.
tennis. Yeah.
I never played tennis. I was gonna say like
I was
the
more
Asian
serious.
sports, right? Like badminton.
No,
basketball.
I wasn't in badminton, but I was pretty serious in tennis. Yeah. Very serious in tennis. Basketball was like leisure, but tennis was like
What do you
serious.
like about tennis? What was the main thing that got you into tennis?
Oh, I hated it at first. Like my parents forced me into
Forced
like
him to be there.
Yeah, forced me to do it. And then like I picked it up like I really picked it up when I was in high school, and then like friends played and I played it, and then because my friends played it and I already know how to play, so it's like, oh, I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like the late 80s, 90s, that was like the peak level of tennis players' names being like household names, I reckon.
Rafael
So it's
Nadal.
like they probably saw
Andre
this-
Agassi.
Yeah, they saw these people making like big money, and they're like, "You are going to be a famous tennis player, Will." Young William.
Don't have the power though. So the problem with a lot of I'm gonna say Asian players is they don't have a lot of power. So playing tennis is a lot of power. Just like you see, like
that core strength
the
comes
Williams, the sisters, they have a lot of power. That's why they're dominating like the women's category, right?
They're huge, bro.
Yeah, so it's all about the power. Your forehand power, like the amount of times you could exert the amount of power and you get that forehand through.
Is that
it's
why
like you
now
win
when
your
you're
point.
sorting cards, you've got those strong forearms, all those years of playing tennis?
Sorting
I
cards
need to
is like-
open 7,000 packs tonight. Let's go.
Yeah, so that's all about it. So the more like forehand power you have, the more power and accuracy you have, then like
I just imagine William like with like 10-year-old William with just jacked forearms, just like massively jacked forearms.
I had a
coming in,
jacked forearm as well, but it was just
looking like an anime character.
one-handed. I played basketball as a kid. I was never like actually that good at basketball, but what I was taller than everyone else, right? Because I hit that like growth spurt as well,
Advantage.
kind of like you, Danny. Was well. I was a good like 2 heads above everyone else in that year. So like coaches put me in on defense, right?
Yeah.
So like some kid
He
will
sees
walk
you
up,
come in, his
finally gets
eyes
to the
light
ring,
up.
and it's like just like hit that ball out of his hand, and we won the championships that year.
Jeez.
And I was never actually that good at basketball.
Have you still got that that medal hanging over your bed right now?
It's just somewhere in storage. My parents aren't sentimental, so they'll like be like, "Oh, good job," and they'll just like put it in storage. We'll never see it again.
That's like my because my kid's 13. He's won a bunch of his football trophies and stuff, and he's got best and fairest quite a few times. And he found my like box of medals when I played, because I played like premiers for soccer and a few different things. I did a lot of sports stuff as well when I was a kid. And he found my thing. He's like, "Dad, why don't you like have these out anywhere?" I was like, "I'm 33. If you came in my house and I had my high school trophies hanging up, people were like, what the fuck is wrong with this guy?"
Holding on to the what's left, right?
Yeah, at some point it can't be visible anymore.
I went to a dude's house once, and he had like swords laying around everywhere, and a bunch of like
Swords?
medals for like, dude, I won this like katana competition, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah, your back is to the wall at all times in this house. I've definitely seen some weird shit doing like deliveries over the years. Like a lot of people are way more flagrant with having like naked to semi-naked photos of themselves and their partners on their walls while you're doing deliveries. I'm like, man, if I'm having like trade work done at my house and I'm up in the business of having naked photos of myself on the wall, I'm taking them down at least while there's trades coming in the house. Because like you know, they're showing you where to put stuff or what they need, and you're going in there and they know you can see them, and you're just trying to not look at, you're tunnel visioning down the center of the alley, like the hallway, just trying not to look as it's just a photo after photo of his wife's like in like, I don't know, like exotic poses and stuff like that. And you're like, but I guess at that point as well, they're the kind of guy who's like trying to show you as well. And I'm like, man, this is fucking awkward. I just want to come here, deliver the timber, and get the fuck out of your house.
Yeah, don't brag about your wife to me, bro. Yeah.
Oh dear.
That was a weird delivery to your grandpa's, huh?
Yeah.
I've been
We do what we can.
I've been back skateboarding again. I think you briefly mentioned it, but yeah, I've been back skateboarding again. I picked it up like a couple years back as like an extra like cardio hobby. And I have so much respect for people that skateboard and are good at it.
Do you feel like the ankles have degraded significantly since beginning?
Absolutely. My left ankle will never be the same. So there's so much discipline, and like you have to be willing to get hurt, because it's not a matter of like when you'll fall and hurt yourself. It's not a matter of if you'll
I was going to
fall
correct
and
you. I
hurt
thought I'd
yourself.
just let you dig that one.
It's a
in
matter
me.
of when you'll fall and hurt yourself, right? Because
Yeah.
you will hurt yourself.
Well, you
at some
see,
point.
Tony Hawk like injured himself quite bad just a
Yeah.
couple months ago. Like after all, like, you know, obviously he hurt himself before, but he's going to be in his late 50s now at least.
Absolutely, right.
And it's like that's a bad time to be like snapping a wrist or something. You know.
Yeah. But at least he can claim that he was good, right? I can't claim that I was good. So I went through the whole like process of teaching myself to skate and like falling and getting back up and falling and getting back up. And like, it's really interesting. I learned a lot about that skate culture, and it's a lot of fun. And so much of the early 2000s, like skate culture, still comes through to today. Like so much of what we have is inspired by skate culture. Well, like you mentioned a long time ago that like Northern Boards and its logo is like is influenced by that Santa Cruz skate culture as well.
Absolutely. Really big fan of like the Jimbo Phillips like art style and the colors, like because I'm like partially colorblind, like those really bright, broad colors. Like I love that clothing, all that kind of stuff is a big influence. And I think that even now that 90s like Santa Cruz style is on a bit of a like a, you know, an upturn as well. It's coming back around as well. But I really like that influence, and I think it's got a big place in my heart there for those styles and the clothes and they're more casual, more 90s like California kind of feel stuff. It definitely feels like, I don't know. It's yeah. I think I don't know. I don't want to say anything.
We mentioned shoes a second ago as well, and like I think shoe culture to this day is pretty much divided between inspired by basketball culture or inspired by skate culture.
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty much most shoes.
There's a range of like shoes like just for skateboarding, and then they call it the SBs.
Yeah, the Nike SB.
Yeah.
Right? So, and then just like Vans and all
Yeah.
that were inspired by skate
I'd like
shoes.
to go back on skating too.
You picked it up for a brief moment, Will.
Yeah, I'll put it back again.
You got yourself like one of those surf skates.
Oh, I like it. I like the long balls. I don't like the short ones. Short ones are like much harder to control. The longer ones are like much easier to handle.
I picked up skateboarding partially because I wanted like a mode of transport that was like fun while I picked up the hobby of photography, and I got sidetracked. Right, I dropped photography and I just focused on skateboarding. How wrong was I? I was so wrong. Skateboarding as a mode of transport, don't do it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem
Terrible.
like the most convenient way to like travel yourself around.
Not only is it like it's proper cardio, it's hard to push yourself uphill, but also skateboards don't have brakes. You are the brake.
You are the brake.
You have to like learn how to like stop properly.
Do you think skateboards were invented so that people would go through shoes quicker? Like, is it an invention of the shoe
I've gone
industry?
through 2 pairs of shoes in just like the 1 year. So just from like tearing into it, trying to do anything.
Do scooters, man. Scooters.
Nah, I don't want to be that guy.
25. E-scooters.
That's like the teenage thing now. Is like gangs of electronic scooters.
It's so lame. Go back to skateboards and fall over and hurt yourself.
I don't know if you remember like the 70s and 80s movies, like the mods in England, like the guys on the scooters with all the mirrors. Like that's what it feels like to me. It's like they think they're a cool little gang, but also they look like goobs.
Dude, I'm like me in my mid-20s. I'll go to a skate park, right? And it would be like filled with like 14-year-old scooter kids. And I'm like, I can't do this. I can't do this, dude. But even more so than that, it's I can't look like I'm bad at skateboarding in front of these 14-year-olds.
You know you'll never see them again, but somehow their opinion matters a lot.
Yeah, I'll get on top of that like that ramp, and I'll like, if I fall and hurt myself here, I'm gonna look real stupid.
Where I live, they took the floodlights out of the skate park, so people would start hanging out there at night time. So it tells you where we're really at.
See, that's the only time I can go to skate parks.
Just out there at midnight with a little torch hat on, so you can see what's going on.
You know, you couldn't be any more closer to reality. Because I'm not going during the day when there's other kids around. So I'll go to a skate park and I'll try to like skate a ramp or like a pipe just on my lonesome. And I have to remind myself that if I fall and go unconscious, ain't no one saving me.
Get one of those dongles that like elderly people have when they fall over. It has like a, I don't know, like a sensor in it, so their nose it starts calling someone straight
right.
away.
SOS. SOS.
I'll just accept death, mate. I'll just lie on the ground there and stand the stars.
Oh dear.
Don't you have like don't you have to wear like a helmet? or
Yeah,
something?
I thought I was too cool for wearing a helmet when I first started.
come
So I didn't
on.
wear a helmet. I was like, I was gonna have my cap on and skate downhill stuff. And I took a hill bomb, and I fell off the board real bad, scratched my body up, and I rolled a few times. And on one of the rolls, my head hit the concrete, and like I was fine, but I was like, yes, I'm going to go buy a helmet.
This could have been less fun.
Yeah,
helmet now.
yeah.
Well, have you? Because do you still go down to that Aikenhead's skateboard shop at the front here?
I haven't been in a hot moment just because I've kind of settled with the boards I have. But I think I used to visit him quite a bit. I'm trying to pull out his name from my head. Glenn, I think his name's Glenn.
I think so. Yeah. But it's a cool little shop down the front here, just in Wangara. And he's
really?
he's from Canada, and he imports all this Canadian stuff. He's got all these photos with like super famous skateboards and stuff like that as well. Like he's obviously from the scene from then. And he moved to WA, opened up a hardware store, and he had a hardware store here in Wangara for like 20 years. And then one day he just converted the hardware store, kept the exact same name, and turned it into a skate shop. And it's like he just kind of, I guess he just, I don't know how much he has to do it, but he just does it for the like fun of it. He can't be selling too much stuff, but it's a great little shop, and like he's got some really cool stuff. Definitely worth going and checking out. But it's quite a cool little shop, eh?
Yeah, you wear a lot of the merch, right?
I do, yeah. It's like not bad pricing for like clothing and like a lot of the like Red Dragon stuff from Canada. It's pretty cool, and like it's also open at the exact times that when I have 5 minutes to go buy clothes. Like I've needed to buy shorts for the past like fucking 3 months, so I would just buy whatever pair of shorts he's got there, whether it suits me or not. I just go in. Gotta support those small local businesses. You know what I mean?
I'll see you on a board at some point.
Do they sell like cool long boards as well?
They do a lot. They do a lot.
Alright.
He'll just build you something. I got my boards built from him.
Cool.
They get in some of the like because I guess because he's got connections from such a I think Maple Tree is where it's from.
Maple Tree is his brand.
Oh, it's his brand.
Yeah, Maple Road is his brand. So
Well, he got quite connections because some of the stuff he gets in is quite rare. So he does obviously sell it online or whatever, but some of the stuff he's importing from the US into Australia, he's shipping it over east because he is getting quite
Nice.
quite cool stuff. So
We can get some Northern boards.
that's actually not such a
you
bad
absolutely
idea.
can. There's places online where you can get your own custom designs.
Oh, that's cool.
I've always wanted to open like a little skate cafe or something. You know what I mean? Like I thought of like over the years, I've thought like there's a few different like things. Like I'd want to do like one with metal music, call it like hard coffee. You do that in the morning, and like it's like 2000s metal like
We
music.
can just do like we just put like a
Skateboards.
half ramp outside here.
At the front.
Dude, ramps are hard, man. Like I can tell you right now, like
Just a
there's-
small ramp, just for people to jump like across.
Even a small ramp. Like the first time I tried to go down a ramp, like just a 1 foot like drop.
Like one of those cool drop things.
It's
like,
terrifying. It's just even that is terrifying.
Just looking at a sheer
But then you
face.
see like a 7-year-old doing it. Like,
Oh, dude, I get so.
Yeah, a 7-year-old could bounce. He's fine.
Yeah, it's true. I landed on my hip and I need a replacement. You go to Scarborough, you get that big bowl, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I went there once and it was like a hot summer day, and there was just like some 16 or probably 16, like 14-year-old kid just destroying the big bowl, just like doing sick tricks, and I was like, oh man,
I'm going home.
yeah. And I'm over here just being like, don't fall off, just going down a hill.
That's not even a place you can go back when it's late at night and try it again because there's still going to be people there, right? So
No, if I go there, you'll find me in the emergency room.
I'll let you close to the hospital there.
It's true.
We should do like Northern Boys should do some merch, like some t-shirts or something.
Well, now we're doing. The boys are pretty keen on getting some merch shirts done for like whether it's the podcast or for the boards.
Yeah, I did some for Eternal Magic. It's not too expensive. Like I just did it for myself and the team. So I sponsored like a TCG team. So I just put like my logo on the t-shirt. Like if it's a low count print too. So I printed like maybe 15 pieces. It's like $29 a piece.
Was it from here in WA? Or
No.
somewhere else?
It's like it's from over east. It took about 2 weeks to complete. So from order to deliver, it's about 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's not so bad.
No, it's not too bad. Like if you want to like sell it for $30, it covers your cost or whatever, and you make the shit for like 29. It's just for like for the branding and stuff. I think it's fine. And then the quality is pretty good. Everybody loves it. And the print it stays. It doesn't.
It's like free advertising for it, essentially.
It doesn't crack or whatever. So yeah, it's pretty good. I like it.
What was the name of the company you used to print it?
Oh, it's called a print bar.
Print Bar.
Yeah.
All right, check it out.
Yeah, I just like because it's easy because like they have like an online like a template thing that you just upload your logo. You can see the shirt before you get it printed. The more you print, of course, the more expensive it'd be. And then they print in low quantity. So that's what I want. I don't want an MOQ. I just want to print like X amount, and I don't want to have extras because there's no point in me. I'm not selling t-shirts at the end of the day. So
Yeah.
I just want it to be like I just want 10 shirts for my team. That's it.
Well, merch is like for the store is like always one of those things where it's always been on the list of things to do, but unfortunately just never hit that top of the line where it's like we have to deal with this now. You know what I mean? Like working with the small business and having all these different things is always like really important stuff we need to get done. There's events to register, bills to pay, all that kind of stuff. And then merch is like we should just get it done, but it's in that just under that priority list. You know what I mean?
Right.
I think we got really into the idea of like we want cool designs in our shirt and something unique. But I feel like there's a lot of people that would just want to buy a shirt just to support Northern Boards, just to have something fun, right? Like
At the end of the day, just simple is more. So just your
we
logo,
build
it's
on
done. You don't have to like add stuff to it and stuff.
I did think about just having like the Northern Boards logo on the front, and then on the back it says staff in big writing, but then on top of it just says like. And then just like that's like so many of the regulars will be like, yeah, they like stuff.
I really like the idea of just like that font. If we can find the artist that did the font, if we just have Northern Boards on the front and then have our logo on the back.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Oh, that'd
absolutely.
be cool. Yeah.
One of my favorite merch lines a YouTube channel had was right before the YouTube channel closed. They sold a bunch of shirts. The YouTube channel is called Cow Shop. They sold a bunch of shirts that said former Cow Shop employee. And just sold a bunch of that merch. And I thought that was cute.
Well, that's before the Rooster Teeth like stuff wrapped up for a couple of years. There, a lot of the like founders had their own like merch lines, and some of that stuff is very much on that skate, like Jimbo Phillips, like Sound of Cruise style kind of art style, and that stuff was going really well. Like it looked really cool. I don't know how well it's going, obviously, but like that's definitely something I'd like to go. And it's hard. You don't want to enter that fast fashion so much, but it's like if I made shirts that I like, I would just wear my own shirts all the time, essentially, because I think I'm being able to create what I want to be able to create and wear, no matter how gaudy or crazy colored it is. You know what I mean?
There's that middle ground you have to strike with. You want it to represent, for example, Northern Boards, but you still want it to be like an everyday wear thing.
Yeah.
That people that might not know Northern Boards can still be like, that's an interesting shirt.
Yeah, I want to hit that middle ground where it's not. It's like colorful and like is what it is, but I don't want to be too zany that it's like, well, now I can only wear it to like events because otherwise, if I went wearing like this in public, my missus would be like, "What are you doing?"
I gotta dive further into being Californian.
Yeah, I like his get up today. What do you think today?
it's pretty
William?
cool.
It's pretty cool.
No one's gonna know what I'm wearing.
Look at that white Air Force.
The Air Force, I tell anyone that doesn't know, like, if you don't know what shoe to buy, just buy an Air Force One. Just buy an Air Force One, whether it's triple white or triple black. Like it's the epitome of the true neutral shoe. You can wear it anywhere, dress it up, dress it down, go nuts. If it gets dirty, whatever. It looks good when it's dirty. Looks good when it's clean.
When I was probably like 18, 19, I had a pair of like suede, like deep blue Air Force Ones, and I thought they were pretty cool. I don't think it's cool now, but I thought it was cool then.
It probably still is cool. I think a big part of shoe culture is the confidence to wear it as well. Because I'm not a big sneakerhead. I'll just buy a couple pairs of shoes and I'll wear my clothes around my shoes. But there's some people. A big part of it is the confidence you have to pull off that look as well. So if you think you have the confidence to pull off that look, go for it. So
Yeah, I have like 20 pairs of shoes.
holy shit, William. Sometimes I forget that William used to be hip and cool when he was young.
Yeah, it's true. Are you saying he's not hip and cool now? What is this?
Implying.
I'm just like trying to like I do have like different shoes for different stuff. So like, different colors, different comfort. I have like Yeezys alone. I have like 4, and then like different colors to match different things. Even like the Ultra Boost, I have like a couple. NMDs, a few.
Are you like storing them in perfect condition so that you can sell those if you need to?
No,
as well?
I use them. I always wear my shoes.
I hate that culture of I'm going to not wear my shoe or I'm going to wear
I
my
wear
shoe with
all my shoes.
protectants or whatever, just to keep it like pristine 100%.
But that's any. I think now shoes are in that same vein as any collectibles, where it's like same thing. It's like when I buy cards, I'll play with the cards, but there's a lot of people who hold them as sealed stuff, and I don't begrudge anybody who does that. It wouldn't be my style, but I think shoes are the same way, right? Especially if you knowingly can flip them for a decent amount of money in the future. There's something to be said like, well, if I can spend $150 on these shoes and know I'll sell them for $1,000, you probably shouldn't be selling. You should wear them.
I imagine those shoes aren't going to be the shoes that will be worn though.
True.
Right.
Yeah, I have like a couple of ones that I bought it cheap. And then it was cheap because no one wanted it. And then I bought these LeBron James basketball shoes, but they were in the Back to the Future colorway.
Oh, yeah.
And it's the Back to the Future, and it has all the Back to the Future stuff in it. It's like the Nike Mag, but on a LeBron James shoes, so it's much cheaper, right? So that's why I bought it, because it's like $100, I think $120. And then now I checked it on like what's it called, the StockX or something? It was like $300 or something.
Yeah.
I wore it a couple of times already.
I guess with enough time, like a lot of things will pick up value.
Yeah.
Because now it's not available. Eventually, people like who didn't know that it was around or didn't exist beforehand or know it exists will eventually come back and be like, oh, those are cool. How did I miss out on this?
Yeah, my holy grail shoe is the Nike Yeezys Red October. William knows what I'm talking about.
I thought you have one.
No, I don't have a Red October.
Why? What are they worth?
It's the
like,
first
what,
pair of
10?
Yeezys that
10, I
Kanye
think?
West did, and it
10
was with
grand?
Nike.
I think so, yeah.
I
10,
think
15?
I think it's at least 20 now.
Oh,
I
20?
think it's at
Okay.
least 20 grand a shoe. But like, it's the first Yeezy collab that Kanye did, and it was with Nike before he switched to Adidas.
Yeah. That was one of the
But specifically
very nice.
the red one, the Red October, the one he wore around a lot for tours.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like that one. But I have a lot of
Not that I'll ever actually go out and get it. I just think it's cool.
but I do like Yeezys though. They're pretty comfortable. I have the 350 series, the 500 series.
We mentioned that shoes were influenced by like basketball culture and skate culture, but the third phenomenon is like the Kanye West design shoes are also still influencing shoe designs, right?
What's that weird shoe that he made?
I don't know the numbers.
the one that looks like a football?
That's the one like a spaceship.
The
like a
alien
foam-
one.
the
with
foam
the
runners, I
Yeah,
think.
like the
Foam
Yeezy
runners.
Crocs.
Yeah. It's crazy.
Easy Crocs.
That's what I describe them as. Apparently they're comfortable. I don't
It
know.
is very
Never
comfortable.
worn one in my life.
Yeezys are very comfortable. If you want one, like you'll like it. That's why I'm wearing it a lot, because it's just comfortable.
It feels like an exuberant price for shoes. Unfortunately, at this point in my
You get a
life.
lot of uni kids like wearing real nice shoes, right? Because you go to uni, everyone's gonna be dressing up, looking nice. So you get a lot of kids wearing around like Yeezys and stuff.
And I'll wear slippers to school.
I think I mentioned it today to Danny in casual conversation, where it's like I swear like uni kids are getting more money. I swear these kids are getting too rich, bro. Like I park my car today, and like next to my car is parked like a Tesla, like a Mercedes Benz, and then right next to that was like an Alfa Romeo sports car. And I'm like, why the fuck are these cars parked in uni right now? So
Those daddy's pockets are a little bit thicker than ours.
yeah, exactly right. There's international students.
That's what my kid said to me. Is like, when I get older, what car am I going to buy him? I was like, you have an electric scooter. You can get everywhere you need to go right now. So we're good.
You're gonna get Lucas to buy his first car. Save some money up.
I guess so. Like I do that middle ground as a parent. Like nobody bought my first car. I bought my own first car. But then I want to give more to my kid than I was able to get from, like, in my family. You know, my family worked really hard and they did what they had to do to get what we even had. So it's not a begrudging thing. So, but if as a parent you want what's best for your children, so I've worked hard to give him more. But also, fuck him. He needs to work for his shit. So it's like maybe but like I think you talked about this previously, where if he's got a car and he's got a license, he's got opportunity to earn more and do more with it, he can go out and earn more money. And that's a lesson within itself. But like, I don't think any kid learns from just being handed down things. Like, you know what I mean? They have to understand the value of it. And I think you more so than me understand that like guilt that comes down from parents be like, well, I worked for this, so that you work as well. But somewhere along the line, theoretically, if you earn enough, that will stop. But you will see in some families that generationally has continued on for indefinite amount of like generations, where the guilt just gets passed down and passed down and passed down. And then anybody who doesn't feel that guilt is then seen as like a disappointment. And that's not that fair on your kids either, right? If you constantly make them feel like they're a disappointment for wanting to enjoy the things that you gave them, that doesn't make much sense.
William's nodding because he knows exactly how it feels.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, my parents supported me certain things, but it's a good kickstart, like a Kickstarter, pretty much, like to pretty much like go a little bit ahead in the society, right? So you're like, you have your motor transport done. So all you have to do is just get this, instead of like, oh, I have to find motor transport first and then get this done. Yeah. So instead of 2 steps, it's 1 step.
I do believe in the idea of your child's first car should be something that they had to put some level of financial investment in as well, right? Because then it becomes theirs. They have an ownership to it and they have a certain level of responsibility they feel towards it as well. They work towards it, and so maybe they'll treat the car with more respect.
What they earn. If you buy the car, like what you earn, just 20%, take it.
Yeah.
That will be like really good.
I'm generally surprised that you don't see more people, like younger kids, like you know, P-Play stuff doing like Uber Eats or something. Like when wouldn't that be such an easy job to pick
Uber
up?
Eats?
No. So the problem with
I get if it was people Uber, but like, is it Uber Eats as well?
Yeah, Uber Eats. I think if you really want to do Uber Eats, there's a better way for like kids to do it. Get an e-bike and do it in city.
True. Yeah.
That's the best. Yeah, like you make the highest ROI because your cost of like your
fuel's
cost
down.
Yeah, there's no fuel.
Travel's lower.
Yeah, it's just a bike. So your service is the wear and tear is so much lower. So it's your earnings. It's pretty much 80 to 90%. Instead of like having a car, you got fuel and then your wear and tear on a car is so much higher and things like that. And then to find parking as well. So the risk of getting a fine is there and things like that. So the risk just exponentially just goes up. But if you ride a bike in the city, it's all nearby. It's like 3-4 Ks. You get a good workout and then you get a pretty good sum of money as well. Yeah. Pretty much it's just an e-bike. The investment is low. And at the end of the day, you could sell it off easily as well. It's not, you don't need to be like, putting on like for a car, you need transfer name, blah, blah, blah. Just selling a bike is so much easier, right?
When Uber first came to Australia, I did Uber for quite a bit, probably like a year or two. I drove pretty much. I was like driving the truck during the day, running the shop, and then I do Uber like every Friday and Saturday night for fucking ages. And I did pretty well, really. Like it was for me, I guess, because I didn't have to rely on it to be the sole income. Any money I did, there was always extra, so I wasn't a lot of pressure to do it, even though I'd work from 7 o'clock at night till 8 o'clock the next morning, because it's also before they brought in like the limitations on how long you could do it for. Now there's like, I think it's 8 hours per driver or whatever you can do. And I got pretty lucky, and like, I think because it wasn't my primary source of income, it meant that I can do a lot of like extra driving without a lot of pressure. And I have some like pretty cool like stories and like stuff like that. I'd mostly just do around like the nightclub areas in the city and Scarborough, and I'd get a lot of work that way. I think it was pretty lucky. Like I bought specifically quite a nice car so that I could do the premium Uber as well at the time. Didn't get used a lot by people, but it did mean that I got like a preferential position for better jobs and stuff like that.
Right.
Like I only got the car that I got because I knew that I could earn that extra money to pay it off doing Uber as well, right? And but I think it was pretty interesting. You definitely learn a lot. You learn a lot about driving. Like I was already a truck driver, obviously, so I'm on the road a lot as it is. But I think being able to just do those party nights and not too much pressure on it means I could do, it was pretty fun.
Did you ever have to clean up the inside of your car?
No, I got very good,
Ooh, okay,
very good at hearing when someone's going to throw up. So before people throw up, they get like moisture in their mouth. You can hear it coming on. So I'd pull up really quick and be like, get the fuck out of my car. And I always had like, this is the early days of Uber. So, when you have to have like free water and like lollies and like Mentos and shit.
Right.
I was like, absolutely not. I'm not fucking giving you free shit. And I was like, I got really lucky. I think it was also as a average white male and in my like mid 20s, it was a first probably expose for me into like what racism existed in the state, right? Mm-hmm. Because people would get in the car and very openly announce to me straight away, like, oh, it's so good I've got a white guy driving me. And I'm like, whoa, like, am I supposed to like agree with you or laugh along to that like it's a joke? And it's not something that obviously as a white male that I experienced a lot of. It's not that it didn't happen. It's just that it's not in my periphery. I'm not seeing it a lot, right? But the fact that people would openly announce that to me, and like I had like quite a multicultural group of friends, and like I've never really, like I think I talked about this yesterday. Like I don't really, it's not really something that I think about at all. But the fact that I don't have to think about it is a bit of a privileged thing, right? As is though. So the people would just get in straight away and be like, "Oh, glad you're not Indian."
Is that like casual?
What am I supposed to say?
Casual little bit of like banter, the casual bit of like racism. I don't know. It's not malicious, but it's just. It kind of is ingrained in that culture, I guess. Yeah. It's weird. So
the fact that somebody thinks that could be an okay thing to say to someone like in public is like crazy to me. I'm like, I'm a stranger to you. Like, you can't. What are you talking about? It's crazy to me.
All right, we've been an hour now. So episode 3. I think we're getting better at this. I feel like
yeah, hopefully. Tell. Oh well, it's plug time. So hit up the Northern Boards Boardcast Patreon.
Yes, we've got a Patreon going. It's $4.50. It's $4.50 a month. All we want from you is $4.50 a month, and that'll help us like put up a new studio together. We're like getting some soundproofing in and some video camera stuff, so we can do it on the video as well. If you like it or you want to support, just $4.50 a month. Help us out. We'll get going.
And this episode is sponsored by Northern Boards.
Just like Dobby, I can have a new sock.